I am Jeff Gennari, an instructor here at Carnegie Mellon, and I would like to talk to you today about coverage in testing. So coverage is a way to measure the degree to which we execute something in a testing activity. Very commonly, we do things like develop criteria like covering the number of statements in a program, the number of branches or conditionals in a program, or even entire paths. As you can see here on the slide, we have a simple piece of code where a statement is one line, a branch is a decision point, and coverage would be how do we traverse this graph. In software testing, we typically use coverage to do things like evaluate the thoroughness of a test suite, or we may even flip it around and use coverage to guide the tests we create. So it can be very useful to help assess and generate test cases. Coverage has a few very important caveats we need to remember. It is not a direct measure of quality. It can be it's a common fallacy to say that coverage, high degrees of coverage equals high degrees of quality. Remember, coverage is really just a measure of thoroughness, right? So we need to be careful that we understand how to use coverage appropriately to help improve software testing in particular. So I have some tips for you to use coverage appropriately to get the most out of the metric. Number one, avoid arbitrary targets. You see this a lot. People say they want to achieve 80% statement coverage, where 80% is just an arbitrary number. Working toward a particular target can give you a false sense of security because once you achieve that target, you have no incentive to move on. A better approach would be to monitor coverage as the system evolves. As you add code, as you change code, continue to evaluate code coverage at whatever degree and see how it's changing. Are the numbers going up? Are they going down? Are they staying stable? So pay attention to that. It is very important to investigate what is actually covered. So there can be lots of reasons to not cover something. Perhaps it doesn't have any logic. Perhaps it's automatically generated code. Bottom line, it's very important to understand what is specifically covered when you do coverage analysis and to be able to explain it to yourself and accept it. If something is not covered that should be, add additional test cases. Beware of extreme values, right? So even though we don't want to have arbitrary targets for coverage, very low values, very high values can be worth investigating. Very low values will indicate that your testing is not thorough at all. Very high values might indicate that you're overdoing it, you're wasting effort. So you want to investigate those types of values to make sure that you're applying the appropriate amount of effort. And finally, it's worth repeating, don't rely on coverage as your only metric for quality, right? Coverage is going to tell you how thorough your evaluation is. It's not going to tell you anything specifically or about the quality of your software. So those are tips for using coverage effectively. If you would like more information on coverage, there will be a link in the description to materials at Carnegie Mellon, the courses we teach, and thank you.